by settling into a position that feels both relaxed and alert, allowing your body to rest without collapsing, and your mind to remain gently attentive. Feel the surface beneath you supporting your weight, steady and reliable, and let that sense of support signal to your nervous system that there is no urgency, no demand, nowhere else you need to be. Take a slow breath in, noticing the subtle expansion of the chest or the belly, and let the exhale release any unnecessary effort, as if the body knows exactly how to let go when it feels safe. With each breath, allow attention to gather inward, not tightly, but naturally, the way your focus softens when you become absorbed in something calming. Hypnosis is already happening whenever attention narrows and the mind becomes receptive. And today, you are simply guiding that process with intention and kindness. As awareness deepens, notice that the analytical part of the mind can rest for a while. There is nothing to figure out today. This session is about allowing new, supportive messages to land beneath conscious debate, where habits and self-image quietly live. Before introducing anything new, take a moment to notice the background tone of your inner world. Without judging or correcting it, observe how the inner voice sounds when it comments on your experience. Some people notice encouragement, others notice neutrality, and many notice a subtle undercurrent of self-criticism or doubt. Simply become aware of what is present. Remember, nothing changes until it is noticed, and noticing is already change. Now imagine that the mind is like fertile soil. In the past, seeds were planted accidentally, often through repetition, emotion, or authority, and those seeds grew into automatic thought patterns. Today, you are choosing what to plant next. Empowering inner suggestions work, not because you force yourself to believe them, but because repetition paired with a relaxed, receptive state allows the subconscious to recognize new possibilities as safe and familiar. Allow this idea to settle gently. As the body relaxes further, imagine descending a shallow staircase with each breath, each step bringing you into a calmer, more receptive state. With the first step, feel the muscles of the legs and hips soften. With the next step, allow the abdomen and chest to relax, breathing freely. With each step downward, the shoulders release, the neck loosens, and the face becomes smooth and neutral. By the time you reach the final step, you may notice a quiet clarity, a sense of openness where suggestions can be received easily, without resistance. In this state, the subconscious mind is attentive, curious, and ready to learn. Begin by introducing suggestions that focus on safety and permission, because change happens best when the mind feels secure. Silently repeat or simply listen internally to phrases that feel gentle and true enough to accept, such as "it is safe for me to support myself," or "I am allowed to be on my own side." Notice how these suggestions land in the body rather than analyzing them logically. Do they create warmth, softness, or openness? If any phrase feels too strong, allow it to soften. The subconscious responds better to encouragement than pressure. Now shift toward suggestions of acceptance and worth, inspired by the work of Louise and McKenna. You might introduce statements like "I treat myself with kindness," these suggestions dropping beneath the surface of conscious thought, settling into the deeper mind like seeds resting in rich soil. There is no need to strain or convince. Repetition over time does the work. As you continue, notice if any skepticism arises. This is normal. Skepticism is often a protective habit, not a truth detector. Instead of fighting it, simply acknowledge it and return attention to how the suggestions feel rather than whether they are absolutely true. The subconscious updates patterns through emotional resonance, not intellectual agreement. Now introduce suggestions that gently reshape self-image. Self-image is simply the collection of ideas you hold about who you are, and it influences behavior automatically. Begin with phrases that describe process rather than perfection, such as "I am becoming more confident in my own way," or "I handle challenges with increasing ease." Notice how these suggestions feel dynamic, allowing growth rather than demanding a fixed outcome. This flexibility makes them easier for the subconscious to accept. Imagine scenarios where you respond with this new inner tone, not vividly or forcefully, but lightly, as if previewing a possibility. See yourself pausing before reacting, speaking to yourself with patience, or feeling steadier in situations that once triggered doubt. Let these images arise naturally, without strain. The mind learns through rehearsal, and even imagined experiences can reshape neural pathways. Continue layering suggestions in a rhythm that feels soothing. Phrases like "my mind is learning new habits," "I encourage myself automatically," or "I respond with calm and confidence" can be repeated slowly. With each repetition, imagine the old critical voice becoming quieter, not eliminated, but less dominant, as a new supportive tone grows stronger through use. This is not about suppressing anything. It is about giving the mind better options. Now turn attention briefly to the breath again, using it as a carrier for suggestion. On each inhale, imagine drawing in encouragement and steadiness. On each exhale, imagine releasing self-doubt and harshness. This pairing of breath and meaning helps the subconscious integrate change at a physical level. Feel the body responding, perhaps through relaxation, warmth, or a subtle sense of grounding. Allow these sensations to reinforce the suggestions without words. As the session deepens, acknowledge that repetition is what makes suggestions automatic. Just as old patterns became habitual through repeated thought and feeling, new patterns grow through gentle consistency. There is no rush. The mind is always learning. Offer the subconscious reassurance that you are not trying to control it, only to cooperate with it. Silently communicate, "We are working together now." Cooperation reduces inner conflict and speeds integration. Now imagine a dial inside the mind labeled encouragement. Notice where it is set right now, without judgment. Gently turn it up just a notch, not all the way, just enough to notice a difference. Feel how even a small increase changes the inner atmosphere. This metaphor helps the subconscious understand gradual adjustment rather than abrupt change. Return to repeating a few core suggestions that feel most resonant to you, allowing them to cycle naturally. You may notice that some phrases seem to repeat themselves without effort. This is a sign that the subconscious is engaging. Trust that process. Before concluding, take a moment to mentally affirm that these supportive suggestions will continue to integrate after this session ends. You might introduce a closing statement, such as "These new patterns strengthen naturally over time," or "My inner dialogue becomes more supportive each day without effort." Let this land deeply. Slowly begin to expand awareness back to the body and the environment, keeping the sense of calm and receptivity intact. Notice the steadiness of your breath, the contact points of your body, and the quiet confidence that arises when the mind feels supported rather than pressured. When you return fully, know that you have begun installing new inner suggestions not by force, but by repetition, safety, and cooperation with your subconscious mind. Throughout the day, you may notice moments of gentler self-talk or increased ease. When you do, simply acknowledge it. Reinforcement happens through recognition. Change becomes automatic when encouragement becomes familiar, and familiarity grows through attention, acceptance, and quiet repetition.